It is Birds 365 here on the JAKIB YouTube channel. Jody Mac with John McMullen. Hey, if you want to do solid before the season starts, you got to do a lot to prep and get ready for a upcoming season. You guys too. Get used to hitting that like button. Everyone, just throw a little like. Hit that like button every once in a while. If you're going to be tuned here every morning, for some of you, most mornings for a lot of you, we're going to try and deliver the Eagle goods for you. So deliver us some goods. Hit the like button, like, share, and subscribe if you get the chance before the season gets underway. All right, Johnny Mac, let you and I get on the record for the upcoming season. Some preseason predictions, more Eagles noteworthy than anything else, but we should pick them all because, the Eagles are going to have to face somebody from the AFC if they're going to get to the Super Bowl. The team they got beat by, they got beat last night in their season opener, the Kansas City Chiefs and Andy Reid going down. All right, let's do AFC first, then we'll work our way over to the NFC. Give me your 4 divisional winners and your 3 playoff teams, wild card playoff teams in the AFC. I got a much better feeling about the AFC than the NFC. I really think I know all 7 teams in the AFC.
A lot of good teams in the AFC. I'll start with our old friend down in Jacksonville because I think that is my most definitive division winner. Is how I describe it. If there's any team that I'm going to guarantee wins their division, it's the Jacksonville Jaguars. So Doug Peterson back in the playoffs. As far as the East, I'm all in on your club and a motivated Aaron Rodgers who wants to prove the Green Bay Packers wrong and one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. I think there's plenty left in the tank. I think that it's going to be a special season for the New York Football Jets. Jalen Hurts was once the highest paid player in the history of football. He's now 4th. Joe Burrow, the latest to take over the number 1 slot. He's great. I think Cincinnati is going to win the North. Overreaction, right? First game. But it's not an overreaction to the first game. Even though I dislike Brandon Staley, I keep going down the Chargers route because I'm such a big Justin Herbert fan. If the Chiefs play this game with Chris Jones and he sits out 8 games, which is his plan, or the 8th game he's got to come back. I forget if it's 8 or 9. I don't think they're winning that division. I think they're winning. They'll be a wild card, but I don't think they're winning if they play 8 games without Chris Jones. So I'm betting that's the case. He's proven he's going to sit out. He said he's going to sit out until he has to get that year towards free agency. If he's not there for essentially half the season, they're not winning that division. I'll go with the Chargers. And then wild cards, Chiefs are one of the wild cards. Buffalo and Baltimore would be and that is a very deep group of teams, I would add.
I'll start in the East. Even though I'm a Jet guy and thinking that they could be back in the Super Bowl for the first time in 50 years, I wouldn't be surprised if the Bills end up winning that division. Doesn't mean that the team can't advance come playoff time. And, oh, by the way, week 1, Monday night, after the Eagles and the Patriots done on Sunday, Monday Night Football, you got both New York teams in the night action. Sunday night, Cowboys, Giants. Monday night, Jets, Bills. Jets at home. If they want to win the division, they got to win the opener. And they might. I'm not going to get that nervy right off the bat. I'll give the Bills the division, maybe even in a tiebreaker. Jets make the playoffs as a wild card. I, too, have the Bengals, same as you. Ravens making it as a wild card. Jags, easiest pick 'em of all to win the Central. I'm going to stick with the Chiefs. At some point, Chris Jones is going to come back. At some point, Travis Kelce, and probably next week, is going to come back. Not only don't I have the Chargers winning the that division, I don't have the Chargers making the playoffs. I don't have the Chargers finishing in second place. I think the Broncos under Sean Payton will jump up and finish second. Not good enough to make the playoffs, but I see a drop off for the Chargers. I'm not a Staley guy, and yeah, I think Herbert is a little overrated. I don't think he's a top 5 quarterback in the league. So I'm going to pick the Chargers to be about a 500 team. I think they got nine wins written all over them. That's not going to be enough. My last playoff team is going to be the Miami Dolphins. They'll be the final wild card team to get in. Jets, Dolphins, Ravens, your 3 wild cards. And the Dolphins could actually make it to the Super Bowl, much like the Eagles did last year. 2 years ago, making it just at the last. They get to rest their players in the last week. You know, I'm a Tua guy. I think any one of the 3 teams from the AFC East could actually end up in the Super Bowl. But I'm going to put Bills as the top team, even though the Jets will make it as a wild card. Who are the 2 teams who will be playing in the championship game in the AFC, Johnny Mac?
It's going to be Joe Burrow's Bengals against Aaron Rodgers' Jets. And I just spoke up about Aaron Rodgers, and I think he's going to have a special season. But I am picking the Bengals to win the AFC championship game. So I think that's where it ends. And that's very good for the Jets, as you can attest, Jody. But I don't think they're going to make it over the hump. I think it's Cincinnati's year. I think they've learned from that. Sometimes you got to go through it. You got to get to the doorstep and things happen. They've already been to the Super Bowl once, but yeah, I think this is Cincinnati's year. So I'm also foreshadowing my ultimate results.
Okay. And I'm going with the Kansas City Chiefs. You want to talk about a safe bet? Chiefs being in the conference championship game, they've only done it 5 straight years. Why not make it 6? Despite last night's loss, Travis Kelce's going to be back. They'll eventually get the Jones thing done. Maybe they even get it done this week because Bosa got signed.
They better get it done. Oof.
Bosa got done yesterday. Burrow got done before the season. We'll see if the Chiefs can get it done before next week's game. They got an extra 2 days to do it since they played on Thursday night coming off a loss. That probably did not hurt Chris Jones's chances of the fact that they lost the game last night. So I'm going to say Kansas City against the New York Jets. And we've already seen Kansas City lose a game at home, and it might not even be home. Might be at MetLife Stadium. You know,
JetLife Stadium.
JetLife, according to Aaron Rodgers. So I got the Jets in from the AFC. NFC, I'm more up in the air. I really do like my 7 teams. I think my 7 teams, you're higher on the Chargers than I am. I have them out. You have them winning the division. But I like my 7 teams. I'll be honest with you, John, I'm kind of up in the air about the NFC. I got 3 teams that I really like coming into the season. Eagles, Niners, Seahawks. The Lions may benefit from a little luck last night, so I got to put them on top of their division, but I don't think they're going anywhere near a Super Bowl. So I'm on the fly making this up as I'm going with my NFC teams. All right, give me your 4 NFC divisional winners and your 3 wild cards.
I'm pretty confident of the NFC playoff teams, except for the last one, and I'm going to go a surprise with that. But as far as I do think the Eagles will win the East, but it'll be very close with the Dallas Cowboys, who will be a wild card team. You're probably talking 12 wins for one, 11 for the other. So, you know, one game could tilt it the other way. I think it's that close, but I am going to default to the Eagles. Cowboys being a wild card team. I think you saw the Lions, not that they're great, because I don't think they played that well. I was a little disappointed, to be honest, on how they played. I thought that game was handed to them, and it was a little bit too difficult. But I don't like anybody else in that division. And Minnesota's taken a large step back. And boy, maybe it's because I've been burned, Jody, but you know, I joked, you know, well, when Brett Favre left Green Bay, they're screwed. They got better at quarterback. They're not going to get better at quarterback this time, but I think Jordan Love is better than people think. I think he's learned. I think it's, you know, he's comfortable. This is my surprise. They're going to be a wild card team. So really? Lions and Packers are coming out of the North. I got the Saints winning the South because I got to pick somebody. And I think they have the best defense, although Tampa Bay's is very good as well. But I can't pick Baker Mayfield to make the playoffs. 49ers will win the West, and I think the Seahawks are pretty clear wild card team. So my one surprise would be, the Packers as a wild card team.
Yeah, well, you and I are very similar. Eagles are going to win the East. I think they'll win it by a minimum of a game. And if you said, Jody, it's either going to be a tiebreaker or 2, I would go more to 2 than I would a tiebreaker. I don't think the Cowboys can win as many games as the Eagles can. But I think the Cowboys will make it as a wild card team, not necessarily the top-ranked wild card team, but a wild card team. Lions will win that Central. You know, I'm a Justin Fields guy. He's going to keep your Packers from making the playoffs. I don't have quite enough nerve to pick them as a wild card team. I think they're going to finish second in that division. I think they go by the Vikings and your Packers. See, here's the problem with Jordan Love. I think Jordan Love could get hurt. You're sitting on that sideline for a couple of years. You start taking a pounding. Yeah, that and the Packers,
believe me, I know it's a shot in the dark, but I just, and it's more about the respect of the organization than anything else. But I do think he's more, just from seeing, and we know what preseason means, but just from seeing him a little bit in preseason, he looks more advanced than people give him credit for. And I think, maybe sitting and learning helped him. But yeah, it's a shot in the dark.
It's nervy. I like the nerve of it. I'm just not sure you're going to be able to cash those chips. Saints will win the South, although I think the Falcons have a chance to be above 500. And above 500, if you're 9-8, that's got you in the mix going into week 18.
Yeah, that could win you I don't like the way they build that team. You know that. I just don't like their organizational philosophy. I don't think they do it right. Maybe I'm biased because I watch how the Eagles build their team. I just don't like it. I don't like how they build their team. There's no foundation to it. It's all sizzle. Where's the steak?
I think they're okay. I think getting a safety from Cincinnati was a smart move. They needed a guy like him. Desmond Ridder is, he's not bad. He's not great. Is he good? I don't even know if he's good. But if he's not, then they'll go another direction next year. But that's a bad. I think both the Panthers and the Bucs are going to be bad. So you take advantage of them. You win at least 3 out of those 4 games if you're the Falcons. Get a split against the Saints. Before you know it, you look up, you're 8-8 going into week number 18. So 17, 18, whatever. So they'll be in the mix. I'm not going to pick them to make the playoffs. 49ers win the division. Seahawks win a wild card. So it comes down to, as you said, you got the Packers as your last team in. This is about as boring as it gets. You wanna say, yeah, real creative here, Jody. I think Giants are going to get a wild card. And that means the exact same 7 teams that made the playoffs in the NFC last year are going to be the exact same 7 teams.
No, because you didn't pick the Vikings. So,
that's true.
Yeah.
I got the Lions beating the Vikings and the Saints replacing the Bucs.
Yeah.
So it's not the 7 same teams. Oh, then I feel much better about my picks. I thought I was just stone cold boring. I do have 2 new divisional champions, although I think most people in the world are picking the Lions and the Saints to win that division, and I'm getting in that line too. That's the 2 teams. And I've been saying this all offseason, John. It's the Eagles, it's the 49ers, and then comes the drop-off. Believe that all along. I think Seattle's number 3, not Dallas. But I think the big drop-off is between 1 and 2. So why would I pick anybody be in the championship game other than the 49ers and the Eagles? And that's what makes that game in early December so huge. The team that wins that game will be hosting the NFC Championship game.
Yeah.
If the Eagles beat the Niners here first weekend in December, once again, same exact matchup, NFC Championship game, Eagles 49ers.
I don't necessarily disagree that much with your thought process, and it comes down to who's going to have home field. Because I actually also have the Eagles and the 49ers. And I got to tell you, Jody, it might just be because it's hard to do it back to back, because I think the Eagles are a better team. I think they have a much better quarterback, but I'm picking the 49ers. And I picked them to start last season. So I'm probably going down the wrong routes. Something's going to happen. Last year they had some bad luck. Maybe the Eagles have some bad luck. We're throwing that word around that nobody likes, but it's true. Um, it's so difficult. I think the Eagles will be on the cusp. Maybe it's a revenge game for the 49ers. I can't imagine them coming here and winning, though. Um, so they got to figure out a way how to get that number one seed, and maybe it's winning, even if they lose here. Maybe it's winning more and being able to do it in a different way. But I have a very difficult time going back to back with anybody that doesn't have Tom Brady. Um, so I'm picking the 49ers.
All right, so you got 49ers Bengals in the Super Bowl. I'm all green, Eagles and Jets in the Super Bowl. And the one thing I will say about you, there's going to be, if John McMullen is right and the 49ers are in the Super Bowl, I don't think this is going to be a damn, why am I just zotzing out on the Baltimore quarterback who went to the defense, who was an announcer on ESPN forever after his life, who's not doing it anymore? Trent Dilfer. This will not be a Trent Dilfer-led 49ers team going to the Super Bowl. Brock Purdy's going to have a big hand in on the 49ers going to the Super Bowl. And a lot of Brock Purdy haters here in town that if he goes to the Super Bowl, they're going to have some splaining to do because, I like Purdy. I just think the Eagles are a better team. And I think that the NFC Championship game here could be a really fun game with Hurts and Purdy going up and down the field, and both of those teams scoring a bunch of points. Could be a great NFC Championship game. But you're not going down the road that the 49ers will make the Super Bowl despite Brock Purdy, are you?
No, I'm not going down that road. I seriously debated the Cowboys and the 49ers in the championship game because it could go, in a different, as I said, I think the Eagles and Cowboys are going to be right next to each other the whole season. It's not even about it for me. It's about the odds, really. I'm playing the odds. I'm more worried about the back to back and the human nature aspect. I agree on paper the Eagles have the best team in the NFC, so they should be back on paper. But we all know this game isn't played on paper. So I'm kind of playing the human nature odds, for a lack of a better phraseology. But the Eagles certainly have a chance. But I got to pick somebody, so I'm picking the 49ers.
Yeah, and so you think the Cowboys will be even with the tiebreaker? That the division will come down with a tiebreaker?
I think it's a 12-win team versus an 11-win team. So ultimately, if you can find, it might be an injury. If you can find a way to get that extra game, I think they're going to be that close in the standings. I think, something can shift it for either team. Because I think more of the Cowboys than you do. I think did Rob pick him to win the Super Bowl?
Oh yeah, he's got him going to the Super Bowl.
I don't know if
in case you're wondering, right? It was Rob Marty who was here with us yesterday.
Yeah, Rob Marty, my buddy. I think the Cowboys are a good team. I think they're a good team, and I think, look, you know the issues with the Cowboys. The owner's going to get in the way. He's already in the way. He's not asking people about Trey Lance. He's trading for a backup quarterback. He's not using people as a sounding board. There's a lot of issues with the Cowboys, but talent is not one of them. They're a really talented team, easily top 5 in the league. So from that perspective, they're going to be involved, and I think they're going to be very close to the Eagles. And if the right injury happens at the wrong time for either team, it could affect the race.
Yeah, I don't think they're a top 5 team talent-wise in the league. I think there are 5 teams in the AFC that are more talented than the Cowboys, and 2 teams in the NFC that are more talented than the Cowboys. So that pushes them down. Let me ask you one Cowboy question before we let you on. I see Mark Fard set up, ready to jump in. Hour number 2. Were you in Minnesota when Mike McCarthy was calling plays for the Green Bay Packers, when he was the head coach who was actually calling plays for Green Bay, or were you here in Philadelphia already?
No, I was there. Yeah, Mike was a good coach.
No. I didn't ask you about his coaching. I asked about his play calling. Was Mike McCarthy a good play caller in your estimation? You had those games, matchups, Vikings at the Packers. Did the Vikings give respect, have some fear of Mike
Oh God,
McCarthy,
yeah.
the play
But
caller?
I mean, it's kind of hard because the fear was Aaron Rodgers.
That's what I'm trying to get to here, Johnny Mac. Which was it? Was it Aaron Rodgers or was it Mike McCarthy play
Well,
call?
it's always,
and I get it. The quarterback's got to always, he's got to perform. But was Aaron Rodgers that good that anybody could have called plays for him? Or is McCarthy and he in a good spot in a place? And do you think his play calling helped Aaron Rodgers become what he became?
I think he helped Aaron Rodgers become what he became. Then when he became what he became, if that makes sense, he got the hell out of the way, like a smart coach will do. I always, one of my biggest criticisms of Chip Kelly is that Chip would never want a quarterback like Peyton Manning or Tom Brady at the time. I remember writing, he wanted, hey, run what I say, run what I do, run the RPO. Like he wouldn't want somebody orchestrating things from the line of scrimmage. So I think Mike McCarthy helped develop Aaron Rodgers. And then when he developed, he got the hell out of the way. And I think that's what you should do when you have a quarterback like that. And I think that's what Nathaniel Hackett does. And I think that's what Matt LaFleur did. So,
all right, so let me ask you this question. What does he do with Dak? Dak's not Aaron Rodgers. Dak's not young, learning Aaron Rodgers. He isn't, oh my God, look how good Aaron Rodgers is. Let me take a step back. What does he do calling plays for Dak this year?
Well, I think they have talent similar to we talked about it here with Brian Johnson versus Shane Steichen. I think Brian's going to be fine because the Eagles have so much talent on offense. Now, is it you're going to, it's hard. I'm very aware, and I say this all the time, and I said yesterday on the show, we do not judge play calls. We judge play results.
Sure.
I'm very cognizant because I've talked about it a lot with Doug Peterson. I'm very cognizant of understanding. I don't know what the design of the play is. I don't know who made the mistake. Now, I have the luxury of going back and asking these guys about it. And Doug's very honest. Sometimes I had a great play call on and somebody blew a block. Nobody knows it. You never get in the play. It looks like a disaster. And sometimes he said, I got a shit play call on and one of the guys picks me up. I mean, and the result of the play defines, oh, what a great play call by Doug. Might be a shitty play call and vice versa. So I'm very cognizant of that. But when there's a quarterback like Rodgers and Manning and Brady, get out of the way. If you don't, you're bad. That's all I can say.
So here's, we can went full circle. Is that good enough to get the hell out of the way?
No,
okay.
It's not that.
That's
good.
why I don't have the Cowboys as a threat to the Eagles.
No.
Because I don't have faith that Mike McCarthy will elevate that. He will make Dak Prescott in what, his 8th year? About his 8th year? He's going to make Dak Prescott any better. I don't believe that. That's why I don't.
No, I think Dak, one of the issues with Dak's a very good quarterback, but he had too many turnovers last year. Now his history, you mentioned, large sample size. His history is he doesn't turn the football over. So last year, I think was an anomaly. I think it'll tighten up. And I haven't watched every. We just talked about with Kadarius Toney, and I know I got to run. Thanks, Mark Barzetta again. You got to watch every one. Are they all his fault? Well, I guarantee they're all not his fault. How many are his fault? How many are on him? How many are poor decisions, poor throws? You got to look at all that kind of stuff. But his history tells me he's not the guy who turns the football over a lot. So I don't think that's going to continue.
We shall see. And oh, by the way, the whole we judge results thing. If you're going to give a guy calling plays an out after the fact when a player doesn't come through, then Jonathan Gannon could have been right this week when he wrote off those 2 touchdowns in the Super Bowl. And not my fault. We had it designed correctly. Somebody just mentioned he threw a player under the bus. Well, the players make the plays for you, or the players don't make the plays for you. You're tied to the players and how they play on every single play.
By the way, he told me early in the process, blown coverage, 0 blitz. 1 was his fault, 1 wasn't. That's what he said. The 0 blitz he made a mistake on. But fans want the blitz. He said he made a mistake with the 0 blitz. Now, the blown coverage, they were doing that. I said it all year, Jody. They did it better than any Fangio team. The communication on the back end. That's the most important thing of a Fangio defense. They blew the coverage. It's always about players first. Always about players first.
Even a guy like Belichick this week, who the Eagles will be facing off against, you're as good as your player. You can only elevate him so much. And I don't know that he's got good enough talent. You got the Eagles winning on Sunday?
I do. Similar. They're going to out-talent the Patriots. Very similar to last season, week 1 to Detroit. I think it's going to be more difficult than the fan base probably thinks because there's not a ton of talent, especially offensively right now in New England. But I think it's going to be more difficult than people think because of the environment. But they're just so much more gifted. I think they make a couple plays, they win the game.
By the final score of, we got to get you on record.
I haven't even done a final score, so I'm gonna say 27-23 Eagles.
Okay, so right at the number. It's a 4-point number. It's
is it? I didn't even know.
Went up from 3.5 to 4.
Not helping people.
I say the Eagles win and cover. Last year they averaged 29.1 points per game. I'm going to round up and say they score 30-20 Eagles over the Patriots.
Nice.
All right. Safe travels over there. Safe travels to New England, buddy. I guess you'll be with me here. Yeah, everybody's going to have to tune in Monday to find out what McMullen's travel plans
are.
It's
all travel related. All travel related. We'll see. It's always good.
See. All right. Mark Farzetta is going to join me coming back next hour, and Paul Domwich is going to join us coming about 20 minutes here on Birds 365.